Hi everyone, back with another film, and this week it's The Big Sick, which was made quite a big debut. It was on a lot of the film festivals and written by Kumail Nanjiani, who everyone knows from Silicon Valley, where he's great, and also you see him around in a few things. He was in the X-Files reboot, one of the episodes, and he's got a great comic tone. So he's in this film in which it's a rom-com, but it does some kind of interesting things where it's balancing drama and comedy and this romantic and you know from the title, The Big Sick, that obviously something happens where someone's going to get quite ill and how they're going to manage all these tensions. So usual thing, I'm going to tell you whether you should see it, then I'll talk about the film, and then we'll do spoilers. So let's just cut to the chase and say I really enjoyed this. This is probably the best rom-com I've seen since Trainwreck. And Trainwreck is completely different in tone, just lots more laughs, but has a bit of heart to it. This film is more, you don't laugh out loud so much, but you're kind of smiling the whole way, and very good balance. So definitely worth seeing. And I'll just say up front, it has the best 9/11 joke that I've heard maybe ever, like Coke spraying level joke. So we're going to have a break and I'll come back and talk about the film. Okay, so now let's talk about the film. So because it's a rom-com, like any comedy or small, it's not really about the direction of the film or anything like that. I think Michael Showalter is the director. Judd Apatow is one of the producers, and it's got that kind of Apatow kind of look to it, where he's kind of balancing the comedic aspects of life with all the big strokes of falling in love, etc. So really what it comes down to is the story and then the cast and how they bring it to life. And I think the interesting thing about this is this film is semi-autobiographical in that I think the big things which happened in the film really did happen to Kumail Nanjiani, but then, you know, I think he has said that he borrows some incidents which happen maybe not in the chronological order, but he just adds them in to make the film more fun. And I think the first thing that you say about this is it really strikes you as an authentic film and comedy. Like the comedy really seems to come out of how you would experience those life events. And because Kumail Nanjiani talks a lot about being caught between a traditional Pakistan family who has emigrated to America, and he's grown up American, but nevertheless has all these familial responsibilities, and he's caught between the two. And so the film opens very early on. He's doing stand-up and he meets this girl named Emily, played by Zoe Kazan. She's very nice, very winning, like incredibly charming, and they fall in love very quickly. And really by the end of the first act, something goes wrong and she gets quite ill. And then all the rest of the cast come in, which are the parents of Kumail Nanjiani and of Emily. And Emily's parents are played by Ray Romano and Holly Hunter, and both are great in very different ways. So Holly Hunter is just great in everything, but in this she brings those comedic chops, the raising Arizona. She's a little bit more southern than she needs to be. And Ray Romano, who's been doing some really good work lately, brings that thing where he's actually playing undertoned. He's not, you know, the big Ray from TV, and when he needs to just undercut himself, he does. It's quite well done. For the Pakistani family, I'm going to have to check the names. It's Anuzam Kher and Zenobia Shroof as the mother. And the reason why I wanted to name check them is they are fantastic. So Kher in Pakistan and Indian films is big, like he's a megastar. So Nanjiani has brought him out and he's really quite good, but the mother steals all her scenes. She is really, really good in this role because even though he's fallen in love with Emily, she's still trying to find him a Pakistani wife. And so the film then unwraps against all these elements. And I think the reason why it works is because you know it's semi-autobiographical and you know Nanjiani from other shows, you really feel like you know him. And so when there's tension or when there's something happening in the film, you just buy it completely. And what it does is, let's say normally when you're writing a film or romantic comedy, you kind of know it's A, B, C, D, E. We know that. We've seen a million of these films. And what this film does is whenever it gets to a decision point, it seems to go in a way I didn't anticipate. And even, we'll talk about it in spoilers, but even by the time you get to the third act, I was not sure how this was all going to unfold. And I wasn't quite sure how you could even tell this story in some ways. So it was really, really well done. And just one of those films where you left the theater and you just felt really good about it. Great date film. This would be fantastic to go see with a date and, or with your wife or girlfriend or whatever. And I think you both would really quite enjoy it. And you might even have some interesting conversations after it. So that's all much that I really want to say. I mean, I think it's just a really nice, good film, like very solid, in a very solid, if not outstanding year. So I want to talk more in spoilers, so I'll be back in a second. Okay, so spoilers. And spoilers are necessary because I actually had to film this, because when I did my introduction, I talked about Kumail Nanjiani, and I also said, oh, well, this film was written by Kumail Nanjiani and his wife, Emily Gordon. And then I realized, well, that's actually a big spoiler, because if I tell you that it was written with his wife, and you know that it's about, he went out with a white girl and she got really sick, you're probably going to put two and two together that Emily Gordon is in the film Emily Gardner, played by Zoe Kazan, and that obviously she survives, and obviously they get together, and that would kind of destroy a romantic comedy. So I kept that for spoilers, and the reason why I wanted to keep it was A, to tell you about why this film is so authentic. It's obviously two funny people talking in a funny way about how they met, how they went through this incredible life crisis, and how they came out the other side. So there's that part. The second part is that what I was saying before was, even though you were watching the film and you go, well, this is a lighter film, but it's really hitting some quite dramatic spots, and the way they tell the story towards the end of a romantic comedy, I really was not sure that the two were going to end up. It could have easily been that this was one of those, we all have those moments where you fall in love, whether it's in university or college or that first big love, and for whatever reason, sometimes out of your control, you don't end up with that person. There's always that what if, what if I had stayed with that person or whatever happened. So this film could have easily gone down that path. You could have easily seen by the end of it that she got sick, and even though she recovered, they weren't together, and that then he ended up with a Pakistani arranged marriage or another American girl or whoever. And you still could have told this story and it just would have had a different ending. But the way that it does unfold is definitely told, really beautifully told. And so you still get the ending, which I think most romantic comedies end up with. Boy meets girl, boy loses girl, girl nearly dies, boy and girl get together. So you do get that, but I really did not think that was going to be the ending until really the last minute or two. And I'll just say this, stay for the credits, because they do that thing which I absolutely love, where with an autobiographical film is they then show the real Emily Gordon and the parents and stuff like that. And that's really quite good. The other thing I wanted to say in spoilers is Nanjiani has come out and said that he has written some of the stuff. So the mother comes across as really quite heartless when you consider that Emily nearly dies and stuff like that. And he said none of that actually happened in that context, in the sense that the mother was really quite empathetic that, oh, this is a horrible thing. But that when Emily recovered, she then tried to get Kamal out of the relationship because she wanted a traditional Pakistani thing. But he said, I made her out a little bit worse because, you know, it gave the film a bit more drama. So that's it for The Big Sick. And I really think, you know, well worth seeing. And I'll be back probably in a couple of days with Valerian. You can obviously see me on YouTube and on Twitter. I'm at Guru Eden, and I look forward to talking to you more. And if you agree or disagree, please leave in the comments. I love having a good film debate. Okay, I'll see you then. Bye.